All Vedic literatures advise us to approach a bona fide spiritual master to get free from the perplexities of life which happen without our all Vedic literatures. They are like a forest fire that somehow blazes without being set by anyone. Similarly, the world situation is such that perplexities of life automatically appear without our wanting such confusion. No one wants fire, and yet it takes place, and we become perplexed. The Vedic wisdom, therefore, advises that in order to solve the perplexities of life and to understand the science of the solution, one must approach a spiritual master who is in the discipline of suffering. A person with a bona fide spiritual master is supposed to know everything. One should not, therefore, remain in material complexity, but should approach a spiritual master. This is the purport of this verse. Who is the man in material perplexities? It is he who does not understand the problems of life. In the Brihad Arandakya Upanishad, 3rd canto, 8th chapter, 10th verse, the perplexed man is described as follows. Yova eta aksharam gargi adis vas mag lokat aiti sakripana. He is a miserly man who does not solve the problems of life as a human being, and who thus quits this world like the cats and dogs, without understanding the science of self-realization. This human form of life is a most valuable asset for the living entity who can utilize it for solving the problems of life. Therefore, one who does not utilize this opportunity properly is a miser. On the other hand, there is the Brahmana, or he who is intelligent enough to utilize this body to solve all the problems of life. Ya etat aksharam gargi vidit small lokat praiti sa Brahmana. The Kripanas, or miserly persons, waste their time in being overly affectionate for family, society, country, etc., in the material conception of life. Attached to family life, namely to wife, children, and other members, on the basis of skin disease. The Kripana thinks that he is able to protect his family members from death, or the Kripana thinks that his family or society can save him from the urge of death. Such family attachment can be found even in the lower animals, who take care of children also. Being intelligent, Arjuna can understand that his affection for his family members and his wish to protect them from death were the causes of his perplexity. Although he could understand that his duty to fight was awaiting him still, on account of miserly weaknesses, he could not discharge the duty. He is therefore asking Lord Krishna, the Supreme Spiritual Master, to make a definite solution. He offers himself to Krishna as a disciple. He wants to stop friendly talks between the master, the spiritual master, and the disciple are serious. And now Arjuna wants to talk very seriously before the recognized spiritual master. Krishna is therefore the original spiritual master of the science of Bhakti Yoga, and Arjuna is the first disciple for understanding the Gita. Now how Arjuna understands the Bhagavad Gita is stated in the Gita itself, and yet foolish, mundane scholars explain that one need not submit to Krishna as a person, but to the unborn within Krishna, whatever that means. There is no difference between Krishna's within and without. And one who has no sense of this understanding is the greatest fool in trying to understand Bhagavad Gita. Srila Prabhupada, Patita Pavana Ki Jai. Karpanya dosa pahata svabhava vichami tvam naradhan samuda cheta yakshayakshan nisitam rupitam me sisyastiham sahivam tvam pradana. So Arjuna is saying, look, now I'm confused about my duty. And I've lost all composure because of miserly weakness. What does that mean? Miserly weakness. Well, he's not following the order of the spiritual master. He's weak due to bodily attachment, family attachment, different things like that, based on sense gratification. However, he has the equilibrium of the mind to make a good decision. And he says, in this condition, while he's in miserly weakness, he's not sure what to do, and he's confused. In this condition, I'm asking you, meaning Krishna, tell me for certain what is best for me. Now I am your disciple, and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. So this is what a disciple should be, let's say, saying to the Guru. And in the purport it says, by nature's own way, the complete system of material activities is a source of perplexity for everyone. In other words, everything in this material world is perplexing, it's confusing. You know, so many things are happening, we don't understand how they're happening, why they're happening. We don't understand why things are happening to us, and we don't know why we're suffering, we don't know why there's arguments, family, affairs, this thing, that thing, all very, very disturbing. We don't know why we're getting older, we don't want, we're basically not very happy about the fact that we will eventually one day die. And we don't even know when. It could be one day in the future, it could be today. We don't know. So here it says, by nature's own way, the complete system of material activities is a source of perplexity for everyone. So material activities, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, these are material activities. Are they necessary? To a certain degree, yes. But if we are not Krishna conscious, then we eat, sleep, mate, and defend like animals. If we are Krishna conscious, we eat, sleep, mate, and defend, but according to the rules and regulations of Sanatana Dharma. There's a big difference between the two. They're still eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, but the rules of Sanatana Dharma are very, let's say, clear and beneficial. If we just eat, sleep, mate, and defend like animals, it's abominable, and we will have not a good life. We will have suffering, unnecessary suffering, due to ignorance. Ignorance means that you think you're doing the right thing, but it's actually wrong. And because it's wrong, you're unnecessarily suffering. And nobody likes to suffer. Everybody likes to be happy and healthy and have good relationships and have a long life and so forth. But due to ignorance, they become their own enemy by engaging in what you would call illicit activities. And what is an illicit activity? First of all, we're given a body, and we should take care of the body by bathing regularly, by going to sleep early, waking up early, chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Showing respect and to elders, and especially to sadhu, guru, and all of the entities. We should respect all of the entities because everyone is the son of God or the daughter of God. We all come from Krishna, and Krishna is concerned about everyone. He doesn't, although he might seem to be paying attention to his devotees, that's natural. And for example, let's say there's a fire in somebody's house, and in that house there is your child who's visiting that house because your child has a friend in that house. So the fire is going on, you run, you become very, very, let's say, afraid, very, very disturbed, and you decide to run into the house. Who would you look for? Your child or the other family's child? First with your child, exactly right. And then, if you save your child, you might think of going back again a second time to save the neighbor's child or whatever. So it's natural that Krishna takes a special interest in devotees, first and foremost. And then secondly, others. It's only natural. So here it says that Arjuna is saying, I'm confused about my duty. Now, at least he knows that there is such a thing as duty, right? Everyone should act as as part of duty. That means something that you must do. You cannot stop doing it. Just like a mother must feed her child, must protect the child, must comfort the child, etc. It's a duty. And the father must protect the wife, and the children, and the family. It's a duty. It's something you cannot avoid doing. So, if someone is confused about their duty, and as it says here, has lost all composure because of miserly weakness. Now, what is miserly weakness? Instead of going to sleep early at night, waking up early, and chanting Hare Krishna early morning, period, and regularly reading, hearing Vedic knowledge, and performing arti, and so forth, people get lazy. And they start skipping things, not doing them, lazy. And what happens? Their determination to follow Sanatana Dharma gets weaker and weaker until eventually they stop. It happens a lot. Why? Because if you want to be a genuine devotee, number one thing you have to do is associate with genuine devotees. Tell me who your friends are. I can tell you who you are. So if you're associating with bad people, you will not take a real interest in God, Krishna. But if you associate with genuine devotees, you'll take a real interest in Krishna, and your whole life will be spiritually oriented by that good association. Everything depends on who you associate with. Okay, so here it says that Arjuna is confused. He's confused about his duty, what he should do as a Kshatriya. What do Kshatriyas do? Well, they protect people, and they're able to also fight and kill people who are misbehaving. much. Right. So Arjuna says, in this condition of my confusion about my duty and my miserly weakness, in other words, can't make a clear-cut decision that's right. He's not sure it's right or wrong. So in this condition, I am asking you, Krishna, to tell me for certain what is best for me. Now I am your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct. So this is real, let's say, knowledge. And this last statement, Sistyastayam Tadimam Tvam Upanam. Now I am your disciple, Krishna, and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct. This is what we have to come to in our life. This is the most important decision that we have to make. That is surrendering to Krishna, not letting your kid run around wild in the temple. Very bad. It means the parents are not, they're not serious about teaching their kids how to be good children. They should keep the child next to them in the temple. The temple is not a circus. It's a place where one must reverently worship Perumal, Krishna. Okay. So the parents just sit down and they don't stop their kids running wild and screaming and playing games and this and that. That means the parents are not really serious about teaching the children how to behave properly. So, so in life, almost in every step of our life, there's complexity. We're not exactly sure whether we're doing the right thing or the wrong thing. And therefore, it behooves one to approach a bona fide spiritual master who can give one proper guidance for executing the purpose of life. All Vedic literature advise us to approach a bona fide spiritual master to get free from the perplexities of life which happen without our desire. They are like a forest fire that somehow blazes without being set by anyone. Similarly, the world situation is such that perplexities of life automatically appear without our wanting such confusion. No one wants fire, and yet it takes fire, and we become perplexed. The Vedic wisdom therefore advises that in order to solve the perplexities of life and to understand the science of the solution, one must approach a bona fide spiritual master who is in the disciplic succession. A person with a bona fide spiritual master is supposed to know everything. What does that mean? Everything about spiritual life. Doesn't mean they know everything, like, how to roll a cigarette with marijuana in it. That's not knowing everything. They know everything about spiritual life. A person with a bona fide spiritual master is supposed to know everything. One should not, therefore, remain in material perplexity, but should approach spiritual master. This is the purport of this group. Now, when you have to test to see if somebody is a bona fide spiritual master. That is, they are actually following the rules and regulations of Sanatana Dharma. What are the rules and regulations of Sanatana Dharma? No meat eating, no gambling, no illicit sex, no intoxication. Regularly chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
The Maha Mantra, the great mantra for liberation from the cycle of birth and death. And secondly, eat only prasada. No meat, no intoxicants, no illicit activities, etc. And number three, regularly associate with genuine devotees and hear from them the Shastras or the Bhagavad Gita and ask questions. The Bhagavad Gita is all questions and answers. Arjuna, he said, I'm perplexed. I'm not sure what to do. And many people in their life, at some point, they arrive at a, let's say, difficult period where they're not quite sure what to do. Should I live in America? Should I marry this person or that? Should I work for this company or that company? Should I eat this or eat that? You know, every day you have to make decisions, you know, and sometimes it's perplexing. And when we find out that we made the wrong decision, well, that's catastrophic. You know, time one lady told me, Prabhu, when I got married, I thought my husband was wrong. She said, but after 3 months, I realized that he was Ravana. You don't want to make a mistake like that. There are two major mistakes you can make in life. First mistake is to accept someone who's supposed to be a guru, but is actually a kangaroo. They're not a serious person, right? They're trying to pump money out of their disciples for their own sense gratification. That doesn't mean there's no bona fide gurus, there are. But if you accept not a real guru, I call them kangaroos, you made a big mistake. And the second biggest mistake that you make is to marry the wrong person and suffer the rest of your life. Right? So, how do we avoid these two major mistakes? You need to be educated. You have to understand what it means to be a bona fide guru. And this is the first thing that a bona fide guru teaches you. He teaches you what is a bona fide guru. A bona fide guru is someone who has a guru in a disciplic succession coming originally from Krishna. So there are 4 bona fide disciplic successions. The Sri Vaishnava succession and the Kumara succession, Gaudiya Vaishnava, and so forth. So, and how can you understand it? You have to be educated. So, when you find a bona fide guru, the first thing he does is educate you. He doesn't say, okay, now surrender unto me, just do what I tell you. No. He teaches you what is right and wrong, what it means to be a disciple, what it means to be a guru, what it means to understand who God is, how to serve God. He teaches you all these things before he asks you, are you ready to take initiation? And you should not accept initiation until you learn all this. Otherwise, you could be cheated. And instead of a guru, you get a kangaroo. So it's very important that we read Bhagawad Gita, but not read. You should hear it spoken by genuine devotees, and you should have questions. Just like Arjuna is questioning Krishna. That's the way you learn. You don't learn just by remaining silent and never asking a question. That means you haven't really heard. The proof that you've heard the lecture is that you'll ask questions to clear any doubts that you might have in your mind. So here it says, I can find no means to drive away. Who is the man in material perplexity? It is he who does not understand the problems of life. In the Brihad Aranyaka Upanishad, 3rd canto, 8th chapter, 10th verse, the perplexed man is described as follows. Yoga itad aksharam vardi adit vasma lokat praiti sa pipana. He is a miserly person. Pipana means a miserly person who does not solve the problems of life as a human, and who does quit the world like the cats and dogs. without understanding the science of self-realization. This human form of life is a most valuable asset for the living entity who can utilize it for solving the problems of life. Therefore, one who does not utilize this opportunity properly is a miser. On the other hand, there is the Brahmana, or he who is intelligent enough to utilize this body to solve all the problems of life. Now, what are the problems of life? Problems of life are eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Birth, death, old age, and disease. These are the problems of life. The problems of life are not political, they're not social. The real problem of life is, why am I subject to birth, death, old age, and disease? I don't like these things, but I'm being forced. Now, why am I being forced to be born? I don't think any of you remember choosing to be born. If you did, you were raised your hand. You say, you were forced. And getting old, are you happy to get old? I don't think so. And sick, you say, oh, I'm so happy I'm sick. No, nobody likes to be sick. And then die, only crazy people are happy that they're going to die. So you have to ask yourself this question: why is this happening? Why am I subject to this? I'm not choosing this, but it's being forced on me. That means there's superior beings that are forcing us to be subdued or be, controlled by birth, death, old age, disease. Then the question is there some way I can get out of this? Is there some way I can be relieved of these very stressful things? Birth is stressful, old age is stressful, disease is stressful, and of course, death is very stressful. So an intelligent person says, why is this happening? I don't want it, but I'm forced. That's the beginning of a spiritual life, when you ask that question. Why am I being forced to undergo this type of suffering and what you would call misery? Well, when a person misbehaves, what happens? They get some problem, and they get some rectification. Like if your child is always misbehaving, you might spank your child, right? If you're cheating on your income tax return, well, you might get caught by the you might get caught. You have to pay more than what you would have normally paid. So there's a very simple rule that I teach kids, and it's good also for parents. It's much easier to follow the rules than to break the rules. If you follow the rules, you don't have anything to worry about, and you have a peaceful life, and you can go to sleep at night without any worries. But if you break the rules, then you're always worried about getting caught. There was one man I know, a very wealthy guy, and he was cheating on his wife. The Hindu, he was cheating on his wife. And his wife found out, and she was a very, very decent lady. And she got so angry that she got divorced. After the divorce, that was not enough. She knew all the secrets of her husband. She basically contacted the IRS and told the IRS all the bad things her husband has done. And he ended up in jail. You see. So, because she was a very decent lady, she was always faithful to her husband, and then he goes and starts philandering with other women. And he has such a nice wife. So, there's a saying in the English language: there's no wrath there's no wrath in this world as severe as the wrath of a woman who has been, say, defiled, has been cheated on. So women will take their revenge when the husband misbehaves. And normally it's the right thing to do in a sense, because if the wife is chaste, if she's always faithful to her husband, she's taking care of the house, she's taking care of the children, and she's faithful to her husband, and then she finds out the husband is cheating on her, that's really very, very, let's say, horrible. And some women get so angry, and the anger that they have is like Durga Mata. Durga Mata, she has a trident. Trident is like a weapon with three swords on it, right? And there you'll see pictures, and there are pictures of Durga Mata putting that weapon on the chest of her husband, right? And the husband from the ground has got that weapon on his chest, right? Because she is very powerful. So men should understand that a good woman is very rare to have. In my language, we say "Alekin Shunikin," which means a good wife is there's no, you can't buy a good wife. There's not enough money in the world to have a good wife. They're very, very exceptional. So men should treat each wife or their wife as Devi. Devi means goddess, right? And we should be very careful, men should be very careful not to get angry with your wife, not to speak harshly to their wife, and not to be too angry with your kids, not to speak harshly to the kids. So a man has a tremendous amount of responsibilities in life to protect his family. But if he has a bad temper and he uses bad language sometimes and threats and different things, it's a very sinful thing to do. It's always sinful to scare someone. So if you scare your wife or you scare your children, you're going to be punished by Krishna. And so, are you going to do Arti? Okay, go ahead. We'll have Arti now. Continue it. Haribo. Jai Shri Krishna, Prabhu Nityananda, Yadvaita Siddhartha, Srivastava Bhaktivinoda. Jai Shri Krishna, Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivastava Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya, Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya, Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya, Govinda Jaya Jaya. Maharaj, anak itu device zaman all glories to the Lord, all glories to Sri Guru, Sri Rango, Sri Prabhupada, Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Vishnu Vedanta Swami Nityanami Namaste Saraswati Devi Gurvani Nirvishni Saraswati Vaskati Vastarine Jai Krishna Bhagavan Ki Jai. Sayadam Yatuna Sam Natvam Nevi Janadi Bhaka Chaitanya Pravishyama Sarvibharam Atam Param. Krishna says to Arjuna, never was there a time that I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kingdoms, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. So that means that the soul is imperishable and cannot die. It exists in the past, it exists in the present, and it will exist in the future. The only thing that dies is the body, but the soul, and there's two types of body. There's the gross body and the subtle body. The gross body is made of earth, water, fire, air, ether. And the subtle body is made of mind, intelligence, and ego. So when you die, only the gross body dies, subtle body remains, and the soul remains. So the subtle body is going to carry you on to the next gross body, and that is by the process of transmigration. If your subtle body is completely pure of all material desires and is focused always on pleasing Krishna, then your subtle body more or less is erased and you go back to Godhead in your eternal body. This is science. It's something we have to learn how to do. When you're a human being, you have much more responsibility than an animal. The animal doesn't understand any of these things. But human beings can understand these things if they hear the explanations of bona fide devotees. So we have two bodies covering our soul. One is the gross body, earth, water, fire, and the second is the subtle body, mind, intelligence, thoughts. Even if the gross body dies, still subtle body remains and the soul remains. And the subtle body remains. It's much more difficult, let's say, for the subtle body to die because it's subtle and because it is the repository of all material desires that we have and memories that we have, previous lives. So to purify first the gross body and then secondly the subtle body is necessary if you want to be liberated from the cycle of birth and death. Now the easy way to do that is to chant Hare Krishna and regularly hear lectures given by bona fide devotees who explain these things. Have you ever heard this before? Well, maybe you have. But have you ever heard this before? Yes. Have you ever heard this before? Have you ever heard this before? Gross body, subtle body. Here or somewhere else? Here. Oh. Yeah, you go somewhere else, you hear all kinds of other things. But here you hear real things. What is the purpose of life? How to attain the purpose of life? And what does it mean to have a human body? Human body means there's a lot of responsibility. What is that responsibility? Well, it's only in the human body that you can escape from the cycle of birth and death. And that requires a lot of attention. You have to constantly chant the holy names of Krishna. You have to hear lectures given by bona fide acharyas, bona fide devotees. You have to eat only Mahaprasadam, not just food. Prasadam is food that's been offered to Krishna in love and devotion, offered back as mercy. You have to regularly associate with genuine devotees, and every once in a while you go on parikram to holy places, and you give donations to the temple. Just like this week, I gave $100,000 to this temple, and I didn't have to rob a bank. So you see, when you following Krishna consciousness, many things happen almost automatically by the mercy. So I don't have a job. I don't rob banks. I don't want to rob them. But somehow or other money comes and I don't hold on to it. I give it to the temple. Because without the temple, we would be lost. Where would you go with this? We'd just be watching television, some crazy thing like that. By the way, if you have a television, my advice to you is pick up the television, walk to the window, look, make sure no one's outside, open the window, and throw it away. You don't need it. It's not necessary. You're not going to see anything spiritual. Well, there might be a few things, but most of it is all nonsense. And just the television by itself, which is based on binary technology, 101010101010, teaches you how not to focus on one thing. When there's a movie, to keep the attention of the person that's seeing the movie, there's got to be no more than 5 or 10 seconds of focus on one thing that's happening. It has to go to another thing, and to another thing, and to another thing. So you're always, so-called entertained. But actually what's happening is you're being conditioned not to focus on one thing. Therefore, it affects your whole mind and body. So you can't sit down and meditate. You can't focus on one thing, like how to please Krishna. You're being trained to go from one thing to another thing to another thing to another thing. And therefore, children that watch, comic things on television, Disney, they think, Disney movies are good for children. They're not. They're very, very good. I don't want to scare you, but it's very, very bad. They have very bad, subtle, what you would call conditioning statements. And they're movies for children. And they're grooming the children to be, let's say, like for example, there'll be the voice of a hero in a Disney movie for kids, but the voice of the hero is that of a homosexual. So when the kid goes out into such society and hears that type of voice, they like it. It was the voice of a hero in a Disney movie. Don't think they're not doing this. They're definitely doing it.
So even the characters they are portraying, like, even the Disney little characters. Even in the intellect, there are quite so characters.
Yeah.
Okay. Even the books are coming like so okay.
Yeah. It's okay to have two mommies. It's okay to have two dads. But you see, there's a lot of evil influences in society, but it's sugar-coated. It's just like, sugar-coated ants. You bite into it, it's tasty, right? Because it's sugar, right? Chocolate or something, right? But after a while, you realize you just ate an ant. So that's what material life is like. They give it a sugar coating to something that's evil. So one time there was this man, and he was walking by a billboard, and it was a billboard of an advertisement to go to hell. Yeah, go to hell. But it looked like Florida. So he said, wow, I didn't know hell would look like this. It was pretty good. And there was, a special to go to hell and have a vacation. So the man was looking at it and it looked just like Florida or Hawaii. So he thought, well, maybe it's not bad. So he buys a ticket, he gets in the elevator, goes down the hill, and the door is open, and he steps out, and immediately two demons grab him and start beating him up. They say, hey, what's going on here? I thought this was a nice place. He said, that was the advertisement. This is the reality. So there's many things like that. Many, many things like that. So, especially in the stock market. Someone will come and try and sell you a stock. So this is wonderful. You're going to make a lot of money. After you buy it, it tanks. And you lost money. So these are all the tricks that are out there for people who are not educated. So we must be educated. First education is that without the mercy of Krishna, we will be rubble for the rest of our life. So how to get the mercy of Krishna? Always chant the holy names of the Lord. Glorify the Lord with choice mantras. So the mantras are here, like for example, in the 11th chapter of the Bhagawad Gita, it says, O lotus-eyed one, I have heard from you in detail about the appearance and disappearance of every living entity, and have realized your inexhaustible glories. O greatest of all personalities, Arjuna speaking to Krishna. O supreme form, though I see you here before me in your actual position as you have described yourself, I wish to see you I wish to see how you have entered into this cosmic manifestation. I want to see the form of yours. So Arjuna is speaking to Krishna, and Krishna is, in other words, satisfying his desire. And Arjuna says, if you think that I am able to behold your cosmic form, O my Lord, O Master of all mystic powers, then kindly show me that unlimited universal form. That universal form is called Virat Rupa. That's where you see everything in one place. Everything in the whole universe, all the people, all the mountains, all the rivers, everything in one place. And of course, it's overwhelming for a human being. Shri Bhagawad Vacha, Lord Krishna said, the Supreme Personality of God has said, my dear Arjuna, O son of Prita, see now my opulence, hundreds of thousands of very divine and multicolored forms. And then it says, Sanjaya said, O king, he's speaking to Dhritarashtra, having spoken thus, the Supreme Lord of all mystic power, personality of God, that displayed his universal form to Arjuna. Now, what does Arjuna see? Arjuna saw in that universal form unlimited mouths, unlimited eyes, unlimited wonderful vision. The form was decorated with many celestial ornaments and bore many divine upraised weapons. He wore celestial garlands and garments, and many divine scents were smeared over his body, this is Krishna's body. All were wondrous and brilliant, unlimited, and all expanding. And Srila Prabhupada writes, in these two verses, the repeated use of the word many indicates that there was no limit to the number of hands, mouths, legs, and other manifestations Arjuna sees. These manifestations were distributed throughout the universe, but by the grace of the Lord, Arjuna could see them while sitting in one place. That was due to the inconceivable potency of Krishna. Krishna gave him special eyes to be able to see all these incredible visions of creation. And then it says, if hundreds of thousands of suns were to rise at once into the sky, their radiance might resemble the effulgence of the Supreme Person in that universal form. Very important verse. And this verse was repeated by Oppenheimer, the let's say, person who created the atomic bomb. When they first ignited the atomic bomb, this is what Oppenheimer quoted this verse from Bhagawad Gita. Even the demons, they read about it. What Arjuna saw was indescribable, yet Sanjaya is trying to give a mental picture of that great revelation. Neither Sanjaya nor Dhritarashtra was present, but Sanjaya, by the grace of the Lord, could see whatever happened. Thus, he now compares the situation as far as it can be understood to an imaginable phenomenon that is thousands of suns. So, imagine what Arjuna is seeing is equivalent of thousands of suns. We can hardly look at one sun. This is thousands of suns. At that time, Arjuna could see the universal form of the Lord, the unlimited expansion of the universe, situated in one place, although divided into many, many thousands. And then, bewildered and astonished, his hair standing on end, Arjuna bowed his head over obeisances, and with folded hands began to pray to the Supreme Lord. Arjuna uvacha vasyanami devam tava deva dehe sarvam stata kuta visesha samram pramananam isam kalmasanasam. Prasyanscha Sarvabhutmanscha Diyam. Arjuna said, my dear Lord Krishna, I see assembled in your body all the demigods and various other living entities. I see Brahma sitting on the lotus flower, as well as Lord Shiva and all the sages and fine serpents. Now, if you want to make spiritual advancement very quickly, you start from the 11th chapter, 15th verse, and go on to the end of the chapter, reciting these verses. These verses are all glorifying. And we should glorify Krishna every day, but not making up things. So, you go to some Christian program, and then the pastor says, and now let's hold hands, and then he makes up some prayer. But this is the way you pray to God. Pasyami devam stavadeva dehe sarvam stata bhuta visheshatam Brahmanamisam kamavasanastam Prisyansya sarvam urugam staviram. Arjuna said, my dear Lord Krishna, I see assembled in your body all the demigods and various other living entities. I see Brahma sitting on the lotus flower, as well as Lord Shiva, and all the sages and divine wet serpents. That means that the transcendental body of Krishna, especially in the special, let's say, Virat Rupa form that he can take. Of course, Krishna can take any form he wants, but the Virat Rupa form is very special because you can see the whole creation in that form. So that, of course, is overwhelming to see, to try and, comprehend what you're seeing. You're seeing the whole creation at one time. Okay, so I'm going to stop right there. But if you read chapter 11 of Bhagavad Gita, starting verse 15 to the end of the chapter, these are all prayers of glorification of Krishna. And you should recite these type of prayers every day. Then the Lord will take special interest in you because you're glorifying him with very choice poetry, written or spoken by Krishna himself. Yes, so it goes on for a whole bunch of pages. And these are the type of prayers we should recite every day. We should recite prayers that glorify the Lord. Then the Lord takes a special interest. If you have nothing to say, then you're not going to capture the attention of the Lord. But if you repeat verses like this directly in the Bhagavad Gita, spoken by Arjuna, glorifying Krishna, Krishna will take a special interest in you. Hare Krishna. Are there any questions? This is the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, verse 15 to the end of the chapter of the universe. Hare. All glories to you. Oh yeah, go ahead. Hare Krishna.
Maharaj, in Gita, Krishna said that we have to act in the mode of goodness, right?
Yeah.
Then today you are explaining that it is okay to use hard words. Like in Durga Mata, you gave an example of Durga Mata and you said that sometimes it's okay to be harsh.
Durga Mata is a very special person. She's devotee. Actually, pure devotee. But I don't really remember saying that. Maybe I'm hallucinating.
Is that in the context of the
So you think all that, but when it's hard for what reason?
Is that?
Like when the husband cheats,
Yeah.
sometimes like it's like okay to if the wife gets injured and he takes some action, like you give an example that where the wife complains to IRS and they put the husband in jail.
Oh, yeah, the story, that's true, that was just a true story.
But I think, the question is,
If kids do something wrong, means they get under the influence of their friends, and if they comb their hair in a abnormal way, or if they dress in a abnormal way, and how to explain them in the mode of goodness.
Okay, I understand. It's hard to be in the mode of goodness when you're angry at the way your kids act, right? But you see, let's talk about what is the most powerful force in nature, in this world. It's love. So if you treat your child with love and devotion, and don't put him in the public schools or even private schools, educating him or her at home. They will not dress in a funny way or in a disgusting way. They will not use bad language. They will always listen to what you say. They will love you because you're loving them, you see. So who's putting them in these demon schools? You are. So don't think that they're going to come out to that school, a perfect devotee. They're going to be what you would call groomed to be little demons with bad language and no respect for elders, and just they end up, if you give them their own room, they end up, closing the door, locking it, going to the computer and staying on the computer maybe till 3 o'clock in the morning and talking on the cell phone at the same time. And two very dangerous machines, cell phone and the computer. And talking to all kinds of nonsense people and watching all kinds of nonsense movies, this, that. It starts with, Disney comics, so you think, oh, Disney comics, they're good. No, they're not good. There's a lot of subtle messages in Disney comics to groom your children not to be good. So whose fault is it? It's yours. You're the one that gave them the cell phone. You're the one that gave them the computer. You're the one that, don't have time because you have work, you have deliverables to give to your CEO or whatever. And you don't have time to spend, and then you send your kid to demon school where they're in prime time, they're in the school with other kids that don't act nicely, and with teachers who are basically meat eaters and not such good people. And it's your fault, not their fault. So you have to protect your child from what? From all bad influences. That requires, a lot of, first of all, understanding with your husband that you'll stay home and educate the child, and the husband will work and bring the money home so that you can stay at home and take care of your child and not let it become content. These are decisions that you have to make about it. And if your husband says, no, you have to work, we need the money. Okay, fine, well, but that's not a good solution. It's better you stay at home, you're a stay-at-home mom, and you educate your children yourself. Right? Don't put them in these schools. They're exposed to two bad elements. The first element is the teacher, and the second element, bad element, are the other kids in school. So don't expect that your kid is going to become, a perfect devotee. It's going to be very hard because he's spending 6 to 8 hours, sometimes 10 hours with all these nonsense people. Yeah, you have to think about it. You have kids, but your husband's taking care of them tonight.
Yeah.
He's here.
He will be coming at he said that he will come here at 8 o'clock.
Other people are good. Have a good husband. It's good.
Volunteers.
Huh?
Both Mataji and Prabhuji volunteers.
Yeah,
They live nearby.
thank you very much. Any other questions?
But is it okay to be harsh to our children?
No, you should treat your children with love. See, if you don't put them in the school, they're not going to learn bad things. You keep them at home, you treat them with love and devotion, teach them good things, respect. What's the word for respect?
Someone.
So, yeah. So that's the first thing they have to learn is to respect mother and father, grandfather and grandmother, Guru, and Krishna, and all people. And you have to watch, it's just like, some of the parents here tonight, they were letting these kids run around wild here. It's a big, big mistake. They don't learn anything when they run around wild, right? And playing with the elevator. It's the other thing, the elevator go up and down, up and down, up and down. So the main thing is that the kids, when you're having the puja, the kids should be sitting next to their parents, right? And after the puja, parents should still be with the kid and making sure that they eat the prasadam nicely and so forth. But the idea that the kid can, the parents can listen to the lecture or can do the puja, and the kids run around wild, screaming, that's really bad. It's a bad model. Okay, so I think we'll stop right there. Thank you very much. And Hare Krishna, be happy. Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Nowadays, people don't want to get married. They don't want to have children. Yeah. And then when they get older, they be 40 years old, and, they didn't bring any children, and they get married. And it's, oh my God, I'm a big mistake. I'm lonely. I'm very miserable. Made a mistake.
Double income working.
Oh, double income case.
It's going on in India.
Yeah. Well, no happiness. Why do the people have children? They want to see a child grow up and, the smile of the baby, it's a miracle. All of a sudden you were 2, now you're 3. The third one is this little baby, this loving little child. Eventually grow up. So you have to protect the child so they don't get contaminated by others. Valuable. Okay.
Krishna.